I'm really frustrated by two things when it comes to abortion. These are my two huge things that drive me up the wall. One is how pro-lifers talk about abortion, and the other is how pro-choicers behave. And if you just listened to the talk, if you just looked at the chat sections on YouTube and Facebook and everything else, from the pro-choicers, you're hearing that it's all about the woman and we need to be compassionate and we need to make sure that she's safe and that she can make choices and that she can live the life she wants to live and yada, yada, yada. And if you listen to the pro-lifers, it's keep your knees together, you dumb slut, you murdering bitch. Okay, so of course, who's the woman going to turn to when she's pregnant and scared? Is she going to go to these people who are saying, you're just a selfish, murdering slut. You deserve any horrible thing that happens to you. Or is she going to go to the people who are talking about, we want you to live your best life. We want you to be safe and happy and fulfilled. Who are you going to go to? You're going to go to the people who tell you, we understand, we care about you. You can come to us, we'll help you. Right? So, what happens when the woman walks into a facility run by pro-choicers versus one run by pro-lifers? And that's where it totally flips. It totally flips because from the talk, it sounds like the pro-lifers are totally obsessed with the fetus, the fetus, the fetus, the fetus, the fetus. It's this total focus on the fetus. But in practice, and it's inevitable when you think about it, in practice, in abortion, it's 100% focus on the fetus because she walks into that abortion clinic. The assumption is that the fetus is the identified problem. And anybody who's familiar with psychology and family counseling knows that there will be the patient who is the identified patient. You've got this whole family dynamic where everybody's got their issues, but there's one person who is exhibiting issues. And they decide that, if you just fix Junior here, our whole family will be okay. And they will refer to that as the identified patient. And, you look and often it's mom and dad's horrible parenting that's making Junior act this way. But mom and dad want to identify Junior as the problem. Well, if the woman walks into an abortion clinic, it's taken as a given that the fetus is her problem. And they don't feel a need to look any further. Why would you? She's come in to an abortion clinic. Therefore, the assumption is that the fetus is the problem. And this is why they don't report child sexual abuse. Because her circumstance isn't the problem, the fetus is. That's why abortion clinics don't have living situations for these women, maternity homes. They don't run maternity homes. They don't hook women up with places where they can no longer be homeless or escape their abusive situation because that's not what the clinic's there for. They are there to deal with the identified problem. The identified problem is the fetus. Everything else that woman has going on is extraneous as far as the abortion clinic is concerned. Now, as far as the pro-lifers are concerned, those are not extraneous. Those are the problem. She's homeless. She's being raped by her uncle. She's being sex trafficked. She's in an abusive relationship. She's unemployed and broke. Her mortgage is in arrears. To the pro-lifers, those are the problems. The baby's not the problem. The baby's kind of the identified issue that brings all of that into sharp focus. And it's like, okay, now we know, okay, we need to get you help with your hyperemesis gravidarum. We need to, holy cow, your housing situation is unacceptable. We need to get you into better housing. Because the pro-lifers, if you're determined for that abortion to not happen, you need to be determined to get rid of all the reasons she thinks the abortion needs to happen. So, and then you see this, the woman comes into the abortion clinic. The focus is the fetus. The fetus is the identified problem. Get rid of the fetus. You've gotten rid of the problem. And what's more, once you've gotten rid of the fetus, the mother is no longer your problem. And now, in most cases, they at least see her through leaving the recovery room with any follow-up. They check her. Is she bleeding? Is she coming out of anesthesia? Okay. But sometimes this focus on the fetus shows itself as early as the recovery room, where they don't have monitoring equipment, they don't have nurses, they don't have anybody there who's making sure that she's actually recovering from this abortion. Because this mindset is, we have dealt with the identified problem. That's the fetus. Fetus is gone, problem is solved. We don't need to look at this anymore. And the extent to which the abortion lobby holds firmly 100% that once that fetus is out of her, she's no longer their problem. That is exemplified by their resistance to laws requiring that their doctors have admitting privileges. The pro-lifers are saying, look, you have taken her on as a patient. You are responsible to see her through until she is restored. If you pull out a loop of her bowel, you need to admit her to the hospital. You need to provide the treatment. You need to provide the care until that woman is as healed as she's ever going to be. You know, maybe she winds up needing a hysterectomy and a colostomy, but that hysterectomy and colostomy are your responsibility because she was your patient. You injured her. You need to follow through with this woman until she no longer needs you. And because that's what the pro-lifers do. We follow through with the woman till she no longer needs us. But that's because, contrary to the way pro-lifers talk, we are not all about the fetus. We really are all about the woman. We just don't talk that way. So, you know, it's official abortion lobby policy that once that fetus is gone, she's no longer their responsibility. They do not want to require their doctors to have admitting privileges because once she walks out that door, she is not their problem. Okay? It doesn't matter. And there are women who have literally been shoved out the door. Sharon Hamplin, they put her in a wheelchair because she couldn't walk. Shoved her out the door. She bled to death in her mother's car on the way home. Sylvia Moore, Arnold Bickham pushed her out the door in a wheelchair because she couldn't even stand up, loaded her in her mother's car. Now, her mom took her straight to the hospital, but she died during surgery. But that is the degree to which, once that fetus is out of the equation, the woman herself disappears off their radar. She's no longer relevant because the fetus is gone. So pro-lifers, you need to stop talking as if we really don't care. Because in practice we do. Your words need to reflect what happens when that woman walks in that door. Everything that comes off of your fingers or out of your mouth needs to reflect the reality of what happens when a woman comes to a pro-life center. Which is, we will move heaven and earth to help her. We will not abandon her. We will not let go of her hand until she's ready to walk on her own. And that needs to be something that we never fail to say. And pro-choicers, you need to start caring about her even after that baby is dead. You're the one who said abortion was going to solve her problem. You do not just wash your hands of her. You do not stick her in a taxi and make her somebody else's problem. You do not put her in a wheelchair, shove her out the door, and she's somebody else's problem. You don't throw her in the back of an ambulance and she's somebody else's problem. If you are there for the woman, you need to be with her until she doesn't need you anymore. And that means until she has healed from this abortion, including if you botched it. You need to practice what you preach.